Okay, so now we need to finish the second one and wrap up topic 2 consumer choice theory, and then you are ready for the first quiz. So this week we don't have tutorial, so this week just lecture on self-study. Okay, and next week probably on Wednesday we have the second tutorial, and then move on with producer choice theory. But basically the first quiz is cover topic 2, topic 1. So this is my tentative schedule, and I sent to Jan. We are preparing for the quizzes and questions. So just want to notify you that if there are new anything that we update, I will inform you as soon as possible. I have your email. So the first, the midterm test would cover the equilibrium in the market. So basically the supply and demand curve. So we almost finished with the demand curve, but we also need to talk about the producer choice theory. We talk about the supply curve. When we talk about consumer, we talk about the demand. Talk about the producer, we talk about supply, and we combine both together. We have the equilibrium in the market. Yeah. So your midterm test will be on the first week of December. In class, person test, in person in class, notebook, probably, and yeah, notebook. More detail, I would inform you. We routing the test, and the assignment due on 19th December. So the video recording. Okay, so basically you will record a video and talk about the market, supply and demand. So due on 19th. And then the second visit come on 24th, so before Christmas. Then because we have a midterm break here, the New Year holiday, we have 2 more weeks, and your self-study week, and then final exam, and we finish everything in January of 2026. You can go home for New Year, hopefully. So basically, so we have 2 weeks, each contribute 2.5%. 2.5%. Okay, so 2 weeks to on the first one, the second one. So basically, equal to 5%. So 2.5%. And then we have midterm assessment. Right? So midterm test. Midterm test 1. So we contribute 20%, and then the final exam. So 50%. Okay. So please. So when we open which is finish it all time. So normally we give you 1 day to finish it, and quite easy to get that kind of 5%. Okay. So we finish the first 2 points Topic 2, last week we talked about the vertex constant, about multiply, about preference, the utility function. We talk about in the tutorial that in the you went to the black to the board and plot the multiply, something like that, right? And today we will harmonize these two points in together to come up with the optimal consumption. Okay, so basically when we interact the multiply, so the multiply represents the vertex constant, your limited income. Okay, and then now we have something for the independent curve that represent the utility functions. Okay, and now we interact the two lines together and we get optimal consumption under for each consumer. And we have time to talk about the income and substitution effect. Why the demand curve does not always slow downward, like I said in the first lecture. Okay, sometimes it's slow downward, but sometimes most of the time it's slow downward. So higher price, lower quantity of demand. But sometimes it's slow upward. Higher price, so higher quantity of demand. Okay, and they asked about the leisure and labor supply and the choice between consumption today and tomorrow. That's what we talk on Friday. Okay, labor market. How much, how many times that people should work a week like that. So another trade-off, basically another trade-off. Okay. Okay, so we did a housekeeping, but was here for last trimester, so I need to update. Okay, so what does it mean? Let's start with this figure. What does it imply? What does it imply? What does it indicate? The Spotify #1 top trending song on Spotify throughout 2020. Okay, so how many singers that you know here? So I know Billy Eilish, I know The Weeknd, I know Drake, I know Brandy. She's came to Vietnam, right? I know Lady Gaga, I know Taylor Swift. Cardi B. That's it for me. Probably you know better than me. So what does it mean? So what does it mean? So people just search this kind of song over year in 2020, top 10 song in 2020. So basically, no time to die. So I got crazy with this song in New Zealand in the pandemic. We are in isolated. So I listened it every night. So drink a cup of wine, better for my sleeping when I was in the pandemic. Lonely in New Zealand. No family, no friend, no anyone. No. So basically, for each song, so we see a common pattern here, right? What is the general pattern? So first increase, so reaching the peak. So reminds me of, so the words, the first derivative got 0 here. So reaching at the peak, turning point. Then it go downward when the new song comes up. So we have new song here, and I take over the position of the previous song. And that's possible. Like it's 1 degree and new song comes up. New song. Okay. So what does it mean? So why? Because the taste, the preference of listener change over time very quickly. So people, consumer, the listener respond to the market. respond to what people like, respond to social influence, respond to the trends in the society. So many things change, and the consumer quickly change their preference. Like the consumer also change, respond very quickly to the changes in terms of income and prices of goods and services. So that's a good start for us. Okay, remember that the preferences and the consumer choice change over time. Okay, so we assume that the consumer are rational and they make optimal decisions at different time points. Okay, many things change, income change, the price of goods change. So we will look at how to choose optimally. Okay, so if we are rational, we have perfect information. Okay, so we are rational, we have perfect information. So we pay two constraints. So there are two things that we need to consider to make an optimal decision. The first one, budget constraint. You have limited income. You cannot buy. Okay. The second, your preference. Okay, your taste. So basically, different kind of good bring different level of utility, and even like different level of utility for different kind of customer, consumer. Okay, iPad probably brings home. So more happiness than me. That's why I don't. Even if I have money, I don't buy it. Okay, but if like the Apple like discount the price, let's say like 5 million, but I bet I would probably go for one for try it. Okay, for experience. But I don't have don't bring me much happiness, even in price. So we have budget constraint. Budget constraint depend on your income and depend on the price of the good. Okay, so we look at the limited budget and preference at the same time, and so we harmonize the 2 points together, what we talked last week, so we would understand the reason behind that, and formally model the optimal choice. So both mathematically and graphically. So given a limited budget, which handle goes the consumer purchase to maximize the total utility. So that's a common question. That's the optimal choice question. So Frank has a budget on $21. He wants to spend it on going to the club, so basically music, and we call that a good one. Or go for basketball games, we call that a good two. So you have two kind of goods. So as usual, we assume a consumer have they want to spend money on. So we model two goods. It's easier for us to model two things. Okay. We spend money on a lot of things, but assume that we only have limited income of 21, have two goods to continue to spend money on. So how to make optimal choice? Okay, and that's the question. So how to allocate the income to maximize the total utility? We are trying to maximize our total utility. Okay, so this is the example. We want to get the highest possible marginal utility per dollar. Okay, when we make the decision and the margin. Okay, so on the first half, we have that represent. So basically, we have a first half and second half. The first half represents the trip to club. So the number of music to spend money on, and then the number of basketball games per week that we should spend money on. Frank should spend money on. Even his limited income is $21. So we have the number of unit of goods that we consume, trips and the games per week. We have total utility, we have the marginal utility, we have the price of input. Because the income $21 in total and the price of goods determine your basic constraint. Okay, and now we talk about the utility. So as you can see that it's kind of good, give you a level of utility, and it has its own price. So we have something new here. So what is the marginal utility? Somebody can recall me what is the marginal utility one more time. Okay.
The duty you get more when you consume an additional goods.
Yeah. So basically the additional and extra satisfaction happiness you get from consuming one more unit of food. Okay. And that's the decision and the margin. Okay. And the first reason. So basically we have something. So this one. Please note this one. This one is the key to make the decision. We have something called a marginal utility per dollar. MU, marginal utility over the price of the good. Okay, so here the first trip to the club music club. So basically we have a total utility of 12. So basically they give you the unit of utility and it's no unit of measurement. Remember that in utility we just allocate a number to rank your utility. Okay, so basically unitless, no unit of measurement. So 12. The first trip brings you 12 level of happiness. The first trip to a basketball game brings you 21 level of utility. But if you divide by the price of one game, basketball game, you only get the marginal utility per dollar is 3.5. Okay, so what does it mean? And then same here, similarly here, if you divide the total utility of the first trip to the club by the price of the ticket, you get $4. So basically 4 marginal utility per dollar for the first trip. So what does it mean here?
We should choose the good way because it is more satisfied with the least money.
So basically what the question is what the marginal utility per dollar really stand for. The marginal utility that you gain from additional dollar that you spend on that kind of good, right? So if MU over B, marginal utility per dollar on the first trip to the club is 4, and that's greater than the marginal utility per dollar on the first game of basketball. So basically your first dollar you should spend on music. Because it brings you higher marginal utility per dollar. So that's a common rule for us to make the optimal choice. So when you choose a combination of good, whole good here, good 1 and good 2, you should make the marginal utility per dollar equal across goods. So the marginal utility per dollar should be the same, and that's the optimal choice. Here, why? Because if the marginal utility per dollar of let's say the good 1 is still greater than good 2, so rational consumer just spend more, consume more, that's kind of good 1, and consume less good 2 because it's bringing you higher marginal utility, higher total utility as well. Okay, so the first $3 should spend on music chip, but because when you go for music club more and more the law of diminishing marginal utility works, right? And that's why for, let's say for the number $4, for what, if you keep spending on music, it brings you only 3.3 marginal utility. So instead of spending number $4 on music trip, you should spend money on basketball game. Okay, number $4 should spend on basketball game. It brings you higher marginal utility. The percent keep going up until the last dollar that you spend on any good one or good two bring you the same level of marginal utility, and that's optimal choice. Okay, so that's something we call the equi marginal principle. So equi means equal. When we say something equi, means equal. Okay, equilibrium. Okay, so the consumer mathematics, there her its utility where she received the same marginal utility per dollar from both. Or you can say the last dollar spent on both would bring you the same level of marginal utility. That's the optimal choice. Okay, and we can generalize by MUX over P for price X equal to MUY over price of Y. If the consumer receive, yes, if the consumer receive more utility per dollar from consuming X and Y, then they just increase the utility by buying more X and less Y. So that comes in. Okay. Buy more X, the MUX decrease. Just the MU. Okay. And then if you buy less Y, the MUY increase. Okay. So we flip, and then consumers will continue. So basically, the process keeps going up, and you have to choose to avoid that the spending bring you the same level of marginal utility per dollar for X and Y, and that's the optimal choice. Consumer could continue to adjust their consumption so that marginal utility over the price of X decrease and then Y increase until they are equal. So this is called the equi marginal principle. Bundle of goods X and Y bring you the same level of the last dollar spending on X and Y. Mean the person derive the same satisfaction per dollar of expenditure from each good. You are optimal. You are maximizing your total utility. You are maximizing your total happiness, total satisfaction, given your budget constraint. And when I say about your budget constraint, we are talking about your limited income and the price of good. Okay? So with this equilibrium, there is no way for you to reallocate your spending to achieve higher utility level. No way for you to better off from this equilibrium. Okay. Don't forget to check out the video on equi marginal principle. So I will give you some time to check out all the video today. Now let's formalize the equi marginal principle. So optimal choice in a point where our budget lies is tangent to the highest possible indifferent curve. Do you remember what is tangent? Tangent? Yeah. Still remember? That's kind of common concept in okay. Do you remember what is tangent?
Maybe something about a I think so.
No, it's not cross intersection. But basically, if you say I2 is tangent to the vertical line, it means there's only one point of intersection between these two lines. Between, remember, tangent. So there's only one point of intersection. Okay. So let's think like
Yeah.
tangent. Okay. So now, keep that in mind. And when you are at the tangent, the slope of the two lines are the same. The slope of the two lines at the tangent are the same. So the property of tangency. Okay, please help yourself review what you learned in high school. Okay, now the optimal choice in a bundle of goods, let's say two goods, with y and with x, and the tangency, the tangent point, where the IC is tangent intersect with the vertical line. Okay, so can somebody review me what IC mean in different curve means? So talk about it last week. Somebody help me, please. Phượng, do you want to help me? So can you help me? Yeah, but so can you give me some property of the IC? Same level of utility. Okay. So basically, anything else? Any important property of the IC? So basically, how about you, Hina? Yeah, that's good. That's good. Anything else? Hung? Any other property of the IC? No. How about you? Huy, sorry. You are that. Huy. Hùng, right? And Bảo. Okay. So, Huy, can you help me? Give me the property of the IC. Different curve. It flatten out onto the right, right? Yeah. Anything else?
The DMU.
Yeah, it represents the DMU. That's right. Anything else? That kind of
Same curve is the same.
any point on the same curve give you the same level of utility. Yes. That's it. Anything else? Okay. So that's good. When I invoke all of your property, one of your point that give us all the property of IC. So basically, in different curve, all the combination of goods X and good Y give you the same level of utility. So here, so we can do a lot of good Y, very few good X. Right? But all point here, you can see a lot of good X and very few good Y. Bring you the same level of utility. Okay, so that's why we say people are indifferent. Indifferent in terms of people are indifferent in terms of preference over. For here, consider a lot of Y or a lot of X here bring you the same level of happiness. Okay, so the people are indifferent in terms of preference across the IC. Okay, so that's the first property. The second one, higher IC bring people higher happiness level. So higher ICs give you higher utility. So each IC give you one level of utility, but higher IC give you higher level of utility. Okay, and then you talk about EMU. That's why the IC flatten out to the right. So you consume more good white, bring you lower level of utility, diminishing marginal utility. That's why it's flat. Okay, that's good. So can somebody now let's talk about the property of tangent point, the property of tangency. So remember that tangency point P, the tangency. The slope of the vertical line represented by BL. BL for the vertical line. Straight line here represent your vertical constraint. Any void inside the shaded blue area is affordable. Okay. Any void outside the shaded area is unaffordable. You cannot buy any void outside the vertical line. Okay. So at the tendency point B, the slope of the vertical line equal to the slope of indifferent curve. I see. Okay. So now, what is the slope of the vertical line? Can somebody you read the note of
Yeah.
and also I wrote something on the board last week. When we formalize, we show the basic functions. When we show the quantity of y to the quantity of x, we have the intercept and the slope. So what is the slope of the vertical line?
The chain of root it divided with the chain of root e.
So the relative price. The slope of the vertical line is the relative price of good x and good y. How much kind of good y you have to trade off? You have to give up if you want to consume more good x or vice versa. Right? And that kind of trade-off depends on the relative price of good x and good y. So last week we have an example like, so one ticket of music costs so a guy have $200 in total, and they want to go to music, go to Thai music, right? A music cost him $20 for each, and a music visit cost him $10. Okay, so if they want to consume like one more Thai music, they have to give up 2 music visit, because the price of Thai music double the price of the music, right? Okay, so please review what we did on the tutorial last week. So now the slope of the vertical line is minus bx over by. Is slope. Okay, the bigger qy over qx. Okay, so please know the formula that I wrote for you. Maybe one. I think you check the note. So what I wrote on the board last week. So this is the word that slope. Okay, and what is the intercept? So I minus y. If you spend all of your money on good y, it's y. The maximum quantity of good y that you spend all money on good y, no for good x, right? Intercept. So what is the slope of the IC? Can somebody give me the slope of the IC? We're a little bit slow. Can you help me? What is slope of the IC? Yeah, very good. So basically the slope of the IC either in a negative MRS. MRS for marginal rate of substitution. Why it's negative? Because both the multiply and the IC slope downward. That's why. Okay. So that's it. And what is the marginal rate of substitution MRS? What is the MRS? The same level of utility. Okay, so MRS equal to what? Somebody can help us. So how about you? We. So what is marginal rate of substitution? The rate of substitution of x for y. So basically, if you substitute x for y, you consume more x. So the marginal rate of x decrease, and the marginal of y increase. Okay. So that's the marginal rate of substitution. So basically, it's equal to u
into
x over
u y minus
okay. And we have minus or negative flows. So both flow downward. And at the tendency, the marginal rate of x. So both have negative, so it's disappear, right? So we solve what x. You can see that we have u over bx, right? Equal to u y over the price of one. And this is what we call between marginal principle. The marginal utility per dollar for the whole good and the same. The marginal utility per dollar, so the marginal utility per price of each good and the same, and the optimal choice. So we just demonstrate, prove, so basically prove the between marginal principle. Okay, so now intuitively. So let's talk about intuition. Intuitively, what do you think that piping bring you the highest happiness, highest satisfaction given your budget constraint?
the first that we maximize our price. The second that we maximize our utility.
Okay, so an optimal choice. You spend all of your income. When you spend all of your, when I say you spend all of your income, you are on the vertical line. Okay, not any boy inside the same game. Second one, you rich. You try to boost your happiness and high as possible. So for B, you get the highest satisfaction given your vertical line. So how about boy C? Boy C? Why boy A and boy C are not optimal choice? Why? Boy A and boy C are affordable because they are in the vertical line. They are affordable, right? You will spend all of your income at boy A and boy C. But because boy A and boy C are in IC1 and IC1 is lower than IC2, you do not maximize your utility. So boy B is still better than boy A and boy C. Although boy A and boy C are affordable. Okay. Same here if like any boy here like inside like here. Like, so you are not spending all of your income and also not maximizing your here. Okay. How about any boy on here? I see 3. So although any boy on IC3 you have higher utility, but they are not affordable outside your budget. So anyway, point B is the best choice given our limited budget constraint. Okay, given our limited income, point B is the best. So we can maximize our utility and also we have a limited budget, limited income that constraint us to any point like we on IC3. Okay, you cannot spend outside the budget. So B is the best, and that's the marginal principle. The marginal utility per dollar and the same across goods that you consume. So basically, we just combine together what we learned last week. Constraint. So we combine, multiply, and different term, which optimal choice. Okay. We get a high satisfaction given our limited income. Also, please review some like simple mathematical concept that we learned in high school, like tendency, derivative. It's very useful. So when basically, if you learn economics, that's good to learn about derivative. To make optimal decision. Now we have partial here or yan or mystery. Because the price of food increases, the demand of that food increases as well. Why? Because normally we expect that if the price of the food increase, the quantity of demand would decrease. So that a downward sloping demand curve. So let's say price of breakfast increase, so probably we may have breakfast at home, like eggs, instant noodles, something like that. When the price of something increases, the people consume less, right? Does it make sense? Okay, but what happens is that when the price of goods increases, the demand of that goods increases as well. So what is going on here? So for example, when the price of rice, people buy more rice. So rice, instant noodle, bread, potato, like that. So one the main example, a classical example of inferior goods, something inferior goods, something very like essential about daily life, but very cheap. Okay, very important, very essential, but very cheap. Correct. Good. So today, to answer this question, we have to learn about the income and substitution effect. So when the income effect dominates substitution effect in the market of inferior goods, we may observe where the price of goods increases over all goods. Okay, so now let's talk about the second part of this lecture. So one by one. First, let's talk about substitutes and complements. So two goods are two substitutes goods. So when the price of one good increases, the demand for the other good increases. We call that substitutes. So the good that can serve, so basically when the price of one good increase, the people switch to other goods. They replace the good with the price increase with other goods. Okay, we call that a substitute. For example, German car. Okay, so when the price of Mexican increase, people may buy more Toyota, Research, Honda, Apple, common sense, right? Can you give me some example of substitutes? Substitutes.
Noodle or rice.
Rice and noodle, yeah, that's a good example.
Milk tea or coffee. Milk tea or coffee.
Yeah, coffee and tea, that's good. Another example, probably. So, yeah. So, like in Vietnam, the people in the north consume more. Actually, it also depends on our behavior. People in the north prefer probably, I think that they prefer coffee. So the people at my age often drink a lot of tea. Drink a lot of tea. But here in the south of Vietnam, probably most of people at my age prefer coffee. You have more options like milk tea. I don't drink milk tea. The coffee and tea. Okay, so that's a good example of substitute. So when the price of one, let's say the price of coffee increase, probably people switch to consume more tea. The price of coffee increase, people switch to consume more tea. Okay, or let's say Highland and Starbucks. If the price of Highland increase, the people may go to Starbucks more. So that's substitute. Okay. Complement. When the price of one good increase, demand for other good decrease as well. Okay. So when the price of one good increase, the demand of that kind of good decrease. and the price of the complement would decrease as well. For example, export and export games. So when the price of export increase, so the people buy next game as well. I'll think about that for the software. Then the price of iPhone increase probably more or less software. Right? So that complement. Any other example? Give me some example of complement good. Something that you see in your life.
Toothbrush and toothpaste.
Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah, although they are inferior good. So if like let's say, so for inferior good, let's say if the price of in toothbrush increase, do you have any other option except from toothbrush? So still like you still like just buy like one other something like that. So not much, but that's kind of example of complement. That's good. Or think about coffee and even condensed milk. Probably yes, like that. Or anything else? TV, Netflix, yeah, that's a good example. Price of TV increase, so probably the people pay less for subscription on Netflix. It's good. Complement good. So today how we visualize the relationship between the income and the quantity of demand for normal goods. Okay, and it is how we represent the demand, the relationship between the income and inferior goods. So now let's talk about normal goods, inferior goods. Okay, and the impact of income on the quantity of demand of normal and inferior goods. For normal goods, when the income increases, the people demand more normal goods. And when the income increases, probably people demand less inferior goods. Okay? So it is a common sense, right? This one we call as counterintuitive. This one is intuitive. Because it is one common sense. So when you have, so you richer, you consume more. So you have a higher purchasing power, you probably buy more. Okay? When you buy more, you can push your indifferent curve outward. You have higher utility. Okay. For here, it's one we call counterintuitive. When people richer, actually people consume less inferior goods. Okay. So higher income, the quantity of demand for goods. So can you give me? So let's consider this kind of goods and see if should we consider normal. So in Iceland, when you go to Wellington, you can experience one way. So basically the train, the railway. So or you can relate this one to the bus ticket in Vietnam. Okay, so let's say this one is bus ticket in Vietnam, or even metro in Vietnam. Okay, so this one is normal or inferior.
Inferior.
What do you think if the Vietnamese become richer, have more income, they will consume more bus. They will travel every day more by bus or less. What do you think?
If I have money so much, I would travel less, but
Yeah, a common sense. Okay, so do any guy go to campus by bus every day? So probably like normally we expect that. So when the people have a like high income, they consume like less cut out inferior goods because they have more options. Okay, so like
helicopter.
yeah, helicopter. Yeah. So basically, because normally we observe that when people have higher income, the the ownership rate of people on a car increase. So basically, when you have a higher income, probably people have more options. They can switch to private motorbike or cars like that. Okay, so that's the way that people behave. How about this one? Fast food, inferior or normal good? Inferior, yeah. Also notice that it also depends on individual and also depend on the society that we are living in. So I think it was in the US, fast food is inferior or even in Israel. So very cheap compared to their income, average income. In Vietnam, McDonald's probably a little bit even like luxury, right? Okay, so that's the price. So this one is example of inferior goods. Inferior goods. So when people become richer, they consume less fast food. They can go to restaurant like US. This one similar. Sushi is kind of normal good, right? Sushi, but in Vietnam probably luxury. But when you go to before moving to New Zealand, if you want to talk, you can like have some chat sharing you some experience of a package sushi box in Wellington is kind of inferior goods. So when I doing my PhD, so I went for a sushi box for dinner very often. Got discount, very cheap. So you can have a big box of sushi with only $5 New Zealand dollars. In New Zealand, $5 New Zealand dollars you cannot go to a food court. Any kind of food they sell in the food court cost you at least more than 13 or 15 New Zealand dollars. So package sushi box is kind of inferior goods in New Zealand, but not in Vietnam. So let's call it a normal good, okay? So here, so when people like have more income, probably people go to restaurant, sushi restaurant in Vietnam more than here, okay? When people have, it's one normal good, high income, more consumption. And don't forget to check out the video on YouTube as well. Now let's talk about real income. Real income is a set of goods services available to a house, and it's determined by the prices, monetary income. Okay, or you can say real income is the income expressed in things that you can buy. When people talk about the well-being, so how to say when we talk about the well-being of the people living across country and world, so it's really hard for us to compare the domestic nominal income, right? Because inflation rate, price level are different across country. Okay, because of the minimum wage and income are very different across country. So when we go talk about, so in economics, when we talk about a well-being, the economics, they don't only consider the income, but what matters is how much you can buy, even that kind of how many things that you can buy. Okay. So instead of like asking that how much monetary income the people will have and how many goods, the quantity of goods and something that the people can buy, even your income. And that represents your well-being. Okay, so that's the real income. So monetary income basically are the normative. The income expressed in terms of money. Vietnam đồng, New Zealand dollar, or USD. But here, we care about your purchasing power, the real income. How much goods that you can buy given your income. So we take the monetary income divided with the price level. Okay. So for example, if in previous example, if your monetary income is $200 and a meal costs you $20, music costs you $10, you spend whole money on music. I would say your real income is 20 music. So 200 over $10 for music. Or if you spend all of your money on Thai meal, your real income is 10 Thai meal. Okay. So we express real income in terms of quantity of goods. Okay. So much clarity about what we learned in budget construct. So the question is, so we have two questions here. What happens to real income when prices go down? And what happens to real income when prices goes up? What happens? The price. So as you can see that when the price level, the price of goods change. The price of goods increase, decrease, or increase, it would affect your real income. Holding your monetary income constant. Okay, and remember that when the price of goods change, it rotates your purchase line. What you do in this story. If your income change and the price level stay the same, it seems the purchase line outward or inward, right? But if the price of one would change, rotate, change the slope because change relative price. Okay, please review what we learned last week and the tutorial as well. So now, this topic, when the price level change, go down or goes up, have a two effect on your real income. The first one, I would say the income effect. And the second one, I would say is the substitution effect. Okay, so there are two kinds of effect. Price may affect the real income. So the first one, we call it income effect. When a good gets cheaper, you can buy more product. So basically, you become richer. When the price of goods decrease, you become richer. You can buy more goods. That's an income effect. Vice versa, when the price of goods increase, you become poorer. You buy less. Okay. Or income effect. Second one, substitution effect. It changes the opportunity cost on the relative prices. So let's say if one good, so we consume, so like as usual, we assume that we only consume two goods, one good two, or good X, Y. If the price of good X decrease, or we say the good X become cheaper, what should we do?
We buy more.
When the price of good X decrease, the opportunity cost of good X decrease. Okay, that's why we consume more good X. Okay, and we call that as, and you switch from good Y to good X, and that is substitution effect. Okay, or because the relative price of good X to good Y decrease, so we consume more good X. Same logic. This is the substitution effect. Okay, so if the price of goods falls, so basically in terms of income effect, household is better off. Higher real income and household buy more. Okay. If the price of a good falls, so basically the opportunity cost of that kind of good decrease. And that's because of a substitution effect. If people still consume more, buy more that kind of good. Okay. And when the price of goods increase, the household is still worse off. Lower real income and people buy less. Okay. And when the price of goods increase, the opportunity cost of that goods increase, substitution effect household buy less. Okay. For normal goods, the income and substitution effect work in the same direction. Okay, for normal goods, income effect and substitution effect work in the same directions. Same direction means if the price decrease, so the income effect must make more. Okay, and also for the substitution effect for normal goods. But for imperial goods, the substitution effect and income effect may work in the opposite direction. When the income effect dominates the substitution effect, the people might consume less. That's why, as I went, the price of income increase, probably people. Okay. The substitution effect is always intuitive. When the price increase, people might switch from price to other goods. That's substitution effect, very intuitive. But the income effect works counterintuitive in this way. So when the price increase, so because the people become poorer, they cannot buy more. Okay, but when people feel that we are poorer, we are being poorer, so we cannot buy more. So we cannot switch to other food like meats, chicken, pork, beef, fish, and then they have to, even when the price increase, they have to buy more rice. So that kind of counterintuitive. Okay, and that's why for normal goods, the income and substitution effect work in the same direction, and that's why we observe downward sloping curve for normal goods. Okay, and higher price lead to lower quantity of demand, and lower price lead to higher quantity of demand. Downward slope. The demand curve always slow downward, or basically the demand always downward. If you represent the quantity here, the price here, so when the price increase, the order more. Okay, and for the inferior goods, if income dominate the substitution effect, the demand might slow upward. When the price increase, quantity increase. Okay, so next one. When income effect dominate, or you can say greater than substitution effect. So now, because this kind of is quite little bit complicated, because something is counterintuitive, or something intuitive like a normal good is easy for you. For inferior would is quite a counterintuitive. So I like you to spend time within exploring the material, all the material approach. So, and I think that's my feeling is too much at stake. So, so step by step, don't worry. Okay. So I think that's enough. That's enough for today. You need time. You need time. Study yourself and also reflect what we learned today first. And then next week I will finish. We will finish. Sorry, on Friday we will finish all stuff related to income substitution effect and move on with the labor market. Actually, the trade-off in the labor market is quite easy. So in topic 2, this one I find it probably most complicated. What's the income and substitution effect? So now I'd like you. So I give you half an hour. So that's enough for lecture today. So please spend your time watching the video on Canvas. So okay. So now I'd like you to
This video is introduce you.
review all the video on Canvas and explore that. Explore all the
In the last
equalizing the marginal utility balance. Explore more on if you have time. So read the lecture slide. Reading the address, substitution, and income effect. We wrap up on Friday. We move on with leisure and labor supply. Okay, leisure and labor supply quite simple, probably similar that substitution and income effect. Okay, so let's call the day. See you on Friday. Okay, so explore the video on Canvas. Ask me any questions on Friday. All good. So you guys look a little bit. You are look a little bit serious today. Are you okay?
I still don't understand about the infernal good about its income
Yeah,
effect.
the inferior and normal good and yeah. So it is. I will go back to this one on Friday. Of course, 100%. So it is the stuff that I want to spend most of the time this week. So don't worry, because I feel it's too complicated now. So I want to stop. That's why I want to stop. And give you some time to understand it. Optimal choice for today and spend some time reading the material on the first. And then so that would say so how you have made total effect. Okay, if I switch to the graph on the total effect, it's too complicated now. I feel that. Okay, so let's one by one. So please go on, review on the what are on the video in terms of optimal choice. Supplement and substitute and complement food goods and explore on the income substitution effect. Okay, and then on Friday we will harmonize these together to explore the why we observe different pattern between normal with inferior. Okay. Thank you. See you. Friday. This week we don't have tutorial. I will